Okay, this is E. Matthews Jet, and I actually mounted the starter, the pull start on the bike, but I didn't tighten the last 4 holes because I wanted to look at it the next day and check it all out. And one thing I learned, that these tips here and here, they come with a raw metal, and you got to clean that before you assemble it. Because up here, this is gonna rip that white hard plastic. You see that white hard plastic? So if you don't clean those tips, because when you order this and you look at this piece, it has a lot of raw metal right here. Okay, so I cleaned the metal here, and I cleaned the sides here, and then I clean a piece here because as this is rotating, this is going to go down. And I had lifted metal here that's going to rub and will ruin also that white piece. So make sure that you clean this flat. Don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, you got to clean the metal into where it's flush. Don't pass the flush line, because then it's not going to work. So clean up here, clean the tip, clean the surface, and put it back on. I actually took these off. They got a clip in the back. So you see the red dots? I put the red dots here to guide the way I was going to put it back. Okay? And bikeberry.com, when you reproduce these motors, you need to add more thread on that crank, because that crank brings very little thread to use this system. The thread is so little that if I over tighten it, it's going to strip it. So you got to be very, very careful when you tighten this. You can't over tighten it. Once it jumps the thread, that's it. You're done. So look how very little thread this has. Where's my flashlight? I need to put my flashlight. You see it? It has very, very little thread on that crank shaft for it to operate. So bikeberry.com, you got to correct that. You got to add more metal to that crank. It needs to come out further. In case if it needs to be grinded in, let the customer grind it, but you need to give us more metal on that crank thread right there, because it's too short. Okay, so now going over here, the crank came with scratches, so I took a satin wheel and I satined it all up real good. And I had lifted metals. This whole edge, that all had lifted metal, including the back here. You see, I got rid of that lifted metal. There's a little bit left. You see that? That was real high, and I grinded that down. You got to grind it down, because when you put it in here, it's not going to let you fit. It becomes a very tight fit. And when you put the screws in, it's not going to let you bolt it. It's actually going to strip your screws. So you got to make sure that the back plate on this pull start is very clean, the metal, before you put it on. So now I'm going to bolt it on, because I had it bolt on, but it was hand tight and it wasn't really tight. And I have the gasket right here. And this is the cover I was using before. This is an upgraded cover that I got from bikeberry.com. Very awesome, man. I love this piece. And this billet, look at this thing. Awesome. Okay, they should come out with a billet pull start, is what they should do. So I'm going through the coronavirus, and I'm still waiting for my unemployment checks that are never going to show up. And my stimulus checks that still haven't showed up. It's almost 2 months already, and I haven't gotten no stimulus, no unemployment, nothing, because it's corona shit. Okay, so I'm having a problem, because when I applied on the website, it didn't give me my PIN number if I got access check every week. So it says to enter your Social Security, and then when you enter your Social Security, then it says to enter your PIN number, and because I don't know it, it hangs up the phone call. So it's nearly impossible, and I've called every number that the Department of Labor gave me, and you can't get through to nobody. Nobody will pick up the phone. I can't get no help. So I got nothing else to do but to sit here and film this pull start into my girl and I and my daughter. We starved to death, and I can't pay no more bills. Because that's what's happening on my side of the world. So that's what's happening in New Jersey. So this is the gasket. Now I'm going to shut the phone off and put it all together. I could film the grinding and polishing and everything, but the thing is, it's my own fault because I don't charge the batteries to my digital cameras or my GoPros. I always wind up using my cell phone. So it's hard to hold the phone in place and work on the metal at the same time and then show you guys. So what I do is I tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'll do the job, and then I'll come back and say this is what I did. You know, I ain't got no choice on this. So if anybody is connected with the Department of Labor in the state of New York, they got to fix their phone system because their recorded system doesn't work. You can't get to talk to an operator for nothing in your life. I've tried everything to talk to a live operator if I can resolve the situation, and I can't get it resolved for nothing in the world. And it sucks that I got to be telling people my business on YouTube channel, but I'm just looking for somebody that's out there that works for the Department of Labor and gets in touch with, you know. And I'm scared to put my phone on the YouTube channel because I don't need everybody on the planet calling me. I just need the right people that's willing to help me to call me. So I don't know if I could put my phone, you know, on YouTube. But I need to resolve this because this is not getting good. I'm almost 2 months. It's pretty much 2 months without collecting a check. And the stimulus, I haven't even seen it, the stimulus. I ain't seen anything. So this is E. Matthews Jet signing out. Once this is put on, now I'm going to start working on the chain. You see this bracket mount? I'm going to make it in metal that's going to hold both sides. Because the problem I got that when I start riding the bike, it starts pulling the wheel back and the chain gets real tight. So I'm going to make a lock system. It's going to be something like this, but it's going to be both sides with screws on both sides where I can line up the wheel and the wheel could spin freely without dropping the chain, and I can ride the bike. The times that I've ridden the bike, it'll give me a nice ride, but little by little it starts pulling the tire back and the chain starts getting tight, and then I got to turn back to the house before I wind up pushing the bike home. So that's the problem with this wheel, and we're going to resolve that. So I bought the steel. I got a steel bar back there. Between the earth and the stand, that bar right there is going to make this piece. So I'm going to cut it, drill it, weld it. I'm going to get everything all together. You know, when I get to that project, I'm going to show everything I'm going to do, and you're going to see me cutting, and I'll probably film the welding because I know how to weld. I just haven't welded in a long time. I used to work with my uncle in his mechanic shop, and I did a lot of welding back then. So I got to catch up on the practice and get back onto it. But I have a welding machine. I got everything it takes to weld. I just got to do it. It looks real good. I even cleaned the surface of this metal. This metal comes real rough. You got to clean this. Take a piece of sandpaper and staple it to a piece of plywood. And, you know, sand it. You put it on the board and you scrape it back and forth. And this is a stand that I made for this bike to keep the wheel up. Because I want to be able to start the bike without riding it and tune the engine and get the chain running properly, and then I can put the bike on the floor. Because I don't want to ride the bike and drop the chain and bring the bike back and readjust and ride it again. You know, I want to do it on the stand like they do with the race cars. They lift the car in the air and they do all the work to the race car, and they roll the wheels and everything's up in the air right there at the pit. That's what I'm trying to do here. Okay, and this is my my chain tensioner that is made by me. A good co-worker friend in my job did the engraving. He was the engraver. He doesn't work with us anymore. Real nice guy, but he's the one who did the engraving for this thing. And this is cut out of a plate that I bought. This is 1/2 inch thick, big plate that I bought, and I cut it out, cleaned up the metal, I sat in the front, he engraved it, and the whole back of this high polish like the edges. You see that's high polish? The back of this is all high polish also. So I did, and it's not done because this is gonna come off and there's gonna be a working piece with the wheel on it that's gonna put tension on the chain from this side. So this wheel is gonna be here, not here. I just put it there to fuck around to look at it. That's professionally made, and this is where the caliper for the back disc brake was, and now it's holding the mount. And I put the sprocket on the hose where the disc brake used to be, and now the rear disc brake is in the front, so I made the bike double disc brake. You see it? Double disc brake. And that front mount, you see that aluminum mount? I made that. That's handmade to make the front disc brake on this side to work. So that disc brake with the caliper was on the back wheel, and I moved it to the front. I moved it to the front. Okay, and I just added the aluminum throttle kit. See the aluminum throttle kit? That's the switch, the on and off switch from the original throttle. I'm gonna put another switch later on, but for now I'm gonna use that switch to turn the engine off and try to figure out what switch I'm gonna do. And then this new throttle came with billet throttle grips, hand grips. So this back piece is aluminum with powder coating, and it's got aluminum caps in the end. I know you can't see it on this side, but you can see it on this side. You see it there? It's awesome. So that's it. I'm getting the bike ready for the summer. Where I used to live at my other address, I used to ride the bike all over the place. I even took it to Hoboken, New Jersey. I rode the bike all over the place with a different motor that I had. The motor that was on here, I took it off because it was under power. So this one is going to make more power. It's going to run better. Plus, I bored out the sleeves. I did all engine work. If you look at my other videos, you're going to see all the work that was done to this engine. So this engine is hooked up beyond belief. This is not the way this motor comes. That when you buy this engine, the head comes completely raw, and if you're not mechanically inclined, you're just gonna put it together the way it comes. Me, because I'm very mechanically inclined, I just modified the shit out of the engine. The engine is all modded. Okay, and then this, I had a problem with this because they give you this little tiny wheel with a little nut to tighten your clutch, and it kept on slipping. So what I did is I took a screw that's high quality metal, and I drilled it right through, and with 2 washers I passed it through, and I put a nut on it, and this is what works. Since I did this, my clutch wire don't slip anymore. Okay, BikeBerry don't make this. This is my own creation. Okay, so it's got a hole right through the screw. So when you tighten this up with 2 wrenches, don't over tighten it because you snap the wire, and when you pull the cable, it's gonna just pop. You gotta tighten it to where it's pretty tight, not over tighten it, and it won't snap the wire, and it'll work great. Very nice. I love it. That's an excellent setup. Look at that. See it? So you got a good quality screw. And make sure that it works with a wrench, not with a screwdriver. You don't want it with a screwdriver on this side. You want to grab it with wrenches on both sides. It's my own gizmo invention. Anything I invent that I make, I call it my own gizmo. So that's it. We're done. I'm going to put everything together, and I'm done for the night. And I hope this coronavirus crap goes away because I'm done with it. You know, I need to go back to work. The unemployment hasn't sent me a check. I haven't gotten my stimulus check, and I got to buy food. I got my girl. I got a daughter. You know, I got to help her out too. You know, I got a lot of stuff going in my plate, and there's no money coming in. There's zero, and I mean zero money coming into this house. And I'm very concerned about that. Okay, this is E. Matthews Jet signing out.